Hello guys, and welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. This one's weird. This one's real weird, but I enjoyed it so much. So you know when you just have like a thought and it sticks with you. I've been thinking about walkout basements for a while in The Sims because I want to build a house that a childhood friend had that was on a kind of a steep hillside on the water when I lived back in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle. It was in a place called Gig Harbor that is incredibly beautiful and it's a harbor, but it has kind of steep sides. So a lot of the houses are like single story on the front and walkout basement in the back, sort of 2 or 3 stories on the back. And my friend had this really cool house where the front looked pretty unassuming, sort of mid-modern kind of, and then it kind of looked flat and wide, and then you walked in and like the kitchen and living spaces were on the right, and there's sort of like a main entertaining space that was never decorated. I don't think so side note, this friend lived in 8 houses in 9 years because her dad was a contractor and he had a very bad habit of bringing his clients to his home because he had an in-house office in every house, and they would say, oh, this house is really cool, and he'd jokingly say, I'll sell it to you, and then it would happen. So when I say this, I remember this house from childhood. This was the house I think she lived in the longest, but I remember many houses that this friend, she was my best friend for a very long time. To clarify, this house that we're looking at is not based on that. But anyways, walkout basements. I've been wanting to kind of build that house, which is very cool. And I was like, well, what if I just tried to build a walkout basement, period? And then this house sort of happened because I was like, I've been calling it buried house because it does look a little bit more buried. I still need to work on how to make the like single story bits look single story-y. But I wanted to see if I could figure out how, and this is not the correct lot for this either, but I was trying to see if I could do some sort of walkout basement situation. And it does kind of look buried, and like I said, because we're in a very flat world, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Maybe something like this would work more in like Henford-on-Bagley or Brindleton Bay, maybe. Like on the beach, you could kind of swing it or something. And if you brought the lot up to meet the house instead of down to meet the basement, it might work better. But anyways, the point being is this house turned out kind of cool because I wanted to try a walkout basement, and it works. Because I did the stairs funky, everything is funky. But if I hadn't done like the weird sort of mid-mod stair situation, it wouldn't look so bad. This house ended up telling me a story. I didn't have a family plan for it, and I didn't have an aesthetic for it. I literally went in and was like, how do I build a walkout? And then it happened, but it ends up being industrial with an asterisk of it's more like found items industrial, if that makes sense. Like I wanted it to look like the family. So here's the thing. Here's the family that came out of this. You'll meet them soon. I love them. I'm absolutely obsessed with them. It is a mama and her twin boys and her young daughter, and she's doing quite well for herself. And so the sons, the twin boys, the teenagers, had a friend of theirs who they met through a video gaming club at school who was in a rough spot and was probably gonna have to drop out of school and sort of deal with stuff because he was pretty much on his own. And so Mama Bear was like, he's just gonna come live with us. I'm just gonna have a third son. And he moved in, and they realized they did not have enough space because they barely had enough space for the twin boys and the young girl. And so she was like, we need a slightly bigger home. This isn't working. And so they built this, and she had quite a hand in it. She picked all the materials and stuff, but also she did a lot of it herself. So it's a little industrial because there was a lot of like going to Home Depot, picking something that looked cool, and then doing it herself. So there's a lot of found art pieces that, very curated to her style. It's got a little bit more of an industrial sort of, I was going for like the Home Depot special look a little bit, but she just went and built a house for her family that worked. And that was sort of the what ended up kind of dictating how this house looked. And I really liked that idea because it's really cool, and I absolutely love this family. There's of the twin boys, one is a musician and one is an artist, and both are wicked smart, and the little girl is like a genius. And then the it wouldn't be step, it would be adopted son, is a total jock. Now that he's had the opportunity to like really indulge in school and stuff, you know, Mama Bear is making sure he's got everything he needs. Now that has happened, he is totally excited to get started. There was quite a bit of a jump there. I think there was quite a bit of a jump there because I lost the footage. There was some footage lost in this build, unfortunately. However, my editing software has also started doing this really fun thing where when I hit export, it rearranges all the clips. In fact, shortly before I started recording this voiceover, I actually clicked a different video to do a voiceover in, because I was trying to do them in order of the way that I thought they were going to go up, and it's completely borked. Every clip is wrong. There's not one that is in the right order, so I had to go redo that one. I don't understand why it started doing this. It's happened now for a couple of months. It's so annoying. I can't tell you. And the stupid thing is, like, I'll watch the little preview and it'll be fine, and then I'll go watch the exported video and it's in the wrong order. It's fine. Anyways, so if it jumps around a little bit, I do apologize. I try to catch it. Anyways, so this house is, let's see, it's 2 bath and 3 bedroom. The boys all share downstairs because the downstairs got kind of weird and I was trying to figure out how to do it because I wanted a rumpus room. And so the boys share 1 bedroom, but it's a big bedroom and it's a weird shape. So it's probably not that big a deal to share realistically. And they have a giant rumpus room downstairs, which was kind of the goal. Originally there was going to be an office, but the office got kind of squished in and I was having some issues making the stairs and stuff work. So anyways, and the upstairs is the kitchen and sort of, it's a living space, but it's a little bit more like, this is a little formal. We keep it a little bit cleaner, and then their dining space. And the little girl has an upstairs bedroom because she's got a bedroom all to herself, obviously, and the mom's bedroom. It was really cute, too. While I was taking the screenshots, almost all of them all but 2 ended up in Mama Bear's room, and they were all just sitting having a heart-to-heart. It was so cute. And then I went downstairs to take screenshots, and one of the older brothers, I can't remember which one it was now, was talking to a little girl and they were playing games. I was like, oh my gosh, just the cutest family ever. That's all. Just the cutest family ever. Lots of outdoor space. Definitely not a curated space. Lots of little kid stuff around. Really just a fun home. And I was trying to do kind of a contemporary look. You can tell this is not the style that I'm used to. I was really struggling with it. And those are just placeholder pieces of furniture to try to make it work. That living space, I believe, shrinks a little bit too. I can't remember. And I was trying to use those windows. I'm gonna build a house that just utilizes those weird, I think they're Get Famous windows with like the giant concrete. I think I'm gonna build a shell that utilizes those windows, and then we'll figure out what to do with the rest of it. Because I want to use those. They're cool. I think I'm gonna use them. Maybe I've been kind of planning. I've talked about this a lot in videos. I'm trying to figure out how to do like a museum in the form of a science center. For those of you who live in the Pacific Northwest, you may or may not be familiar with the Pacific Science Center. I loved that place growing up. I still adore that place. I have many good memories from that place. It was, I had a membership for a while. I was gifted a membership because in college, like, I loved to go do all the exhibits and go see the shows and things. I adored it. I got to see some of the scientists from, what was the name of the mission now when they went and took pictures of Pluto? I cannot remember the name of the mission now. That's awful. That's what I get for doing this on late on a Friday afternoon. But I got to go see them talk about it and see some of the first photos out of that. I got to go see the Sherlock Holmes exhibit, which if you know me, you know I'm a huge fan of Sherlock Holmes. I have very strong opinions about that. So I got to go see the Sherlock Holmes exhibit. I loved that place. And so I've been kind of trying to not recreate it. Obviously, the scale would simply not work in The Sims. But I loved the architecture and I loved the idea of just a place devoted to showing, especially kids, but just anyone, science. And so I want to try to do something like that in The Sims. Basically make a museum, but make it science themed-ish. But I haven't started on it yet because I know that I'm so attached to the inspiration that it's not going to turn out the way I want. You know, when you're like, I am far too attached. Also, going back to this build for a minute, you'll see a few cuts in this area and a placeholder piece get put because I wanted to use that front of the truck lamp that I think it came with City Living, maybe? I can't remember now. I wanted to use it above the fireplace, and I could not find it. It didn't occur to me to look in lamps. Let's not talk about it. I hunted. I think I devoted probably a solid 2 hours to trying to find this thing. And you'll see a little bit here. I think I let it go to the end of like the recording session because I recorded 10-minute chunks. And then I was like, I'm going to go offline because I'm not going to be able to find this. I had to walk away. And then the internet gaslit me so hard because I was like, I'm going to Google it. And I was like, Sims 4 front of truck lamp. And nothing came up. And so I tried like 8 billion variations of that. Nothing came up. And I could not find it in the game. And I was like, did I make this up? And I started going through other builds where I thought I had used it and I couldn't find it. And I was like, did I make this up in my head? Is this an Animal Crossing thing? Did I make this up in my head? Finally found it. Finally found the piece. And it does work exactly how I wanted it to in the house, which is great. Because holy cow, I was briefly convinced I had made that piece up. I tried to go a little bit more minimal with the decoration, because I imagined, like I said, the style was a little bit sleeker with the industrial, but also found pieces, so I imagined like her going to a thrift shop or something like that and being like, this is cool enough to go in my house. Also, having probably just moved in not too terribly long ago, there's just simply not a lot of clutter around. Give it time. A house that's full of love is also just full, usually. Lots of bright colors. I wanted bright colors. The front room is kind of greens and teals and oranges and peaches, which is not maybe the most complimentary, but I don't care. I really liked it. The little girl's room is pinks and purples. Mom's room is orange. And the little boys, we went with some grays and greens because they were, I keep saying little boys, they're teenagers. There it is. See? It does fit perfectly. It does. Just took a while. But the little boys, the teenage boys is gray and green. And it's a little cavey, but they're also teenage boys. So, like when my brother was a teenager, total cave. He has like a super sleek, nice room now. Like his room is still lots of grays, but he has it very sort of modern, but very it's cool. It's very sleek. I like his room a lot. But for a while it was a little bit cavey. Took some time. It's hard to find your aesthetic. And I say that as someone who definitely still doesn't have an aesthetic. Here's where the stairs fought me forever. The downside to using platforms is that nothing clips together ever. You'll notice there's not any platform work inside the house. I was so over it by the time I got to the inside of the house that I just didn't want to do it in the house at all. There is a house coming up that works with platforms a little bit more, but by the time I got inside, I was like, no. No, not interested. I like platforms a lot, but I'm no good at using them. Saving quite a bit here because I started having issues with the house lagging like crazy. Also, I've had this weird bug when I've been building, which is really not fun, where the walls won't paint. It keeps saying that there's no wall there, and I'm clearly clicking on a wall. I'm like, that's great. And the only fix I have found is completely saving and closing out of the game, closing out of Origin, and there's been a couple times where I've had to completely like shut down the computer. Which I can't imagine that actually changes anything other than stopping everything from running. But still, very annoying. This is a little girl's room. At first I thought toddler, and then I decided actual little girl. And her room was kind of done in a style where she's like a brand new kid. She like just was a toddler, so there's some more grown-up kid things, if you will, where like the bedding is a little bit more like I'm 12 now, you know, versus there's definitely some little kid toys and stuff in there, and like the desk is a little bit more like I'm 12, I need a place to do my homework, you know, kind of thing. Whereas some of the decor is still a little kid. There's sort of that transition. I've been really into that lately, making kids' rooms and teenagers' rooms look like they're transitioning into those ages. I don't know what that is, but it's really fun to me to have like kids' rooms, but with a couple of toddler things because, you know, they're not quite ready to grow out of all of that. I think it's just a desire to make the stages of life fit a little bit better. They feel very disjointed to me because teenagers are basically adults. That is something that bugs me. I don't usually care too much about the stages of life stuff. Like some people are really pissed off about babies and stuff, and I understand that, but I personally don't care too much. But I do wish teenagers felt more like teenagers and less like adults. The kids I don't mind, but I would love kids to actually like age through their stage a little bit. I would actually love all of the stages to age through their stage a little bit. Like I'd love for a toddler to turn into like a 7 or 8 year old, but by the time they're ready to age into teenagers, maybe they're closer to like a 13-year-old, you know, in terms of like maturity and stuff. Obviously that would be crazy hard. It'd be cool if they did that in The Sims 5. I'm not in a huge hurry for The Sims 5, but that would be a cool thing to fix that I don't think they can fix in The Sims 4. I don't think that they've probably set that up in a way that would make sense. But yeah, just lots of pinks. This room would be really easy to change into a teenager's room, with a little bit more style and maybe elegance to it. But it's a little kids' room for right now. I did struggle with paintings. Again, this is I think it's a mid-wall house, which I've been doing a lot because I've been trying to like, what's the word I'm looking for? I've been trying to do like specific build styles, which seem to work better with mid-sized walls, but then none of the art does. Isn't that just fantastic? So mid-sized walls are not my favorite. I need to go back to building small wall houses, but especially with platforms and stuff, sometimes you just have to. And in this particular house, it started looking really squished and like wasn't lining up with the ground and stuff. So like the basement had to be, I think the basement is maybe a tall wall and the upstairs is medium wall to try to make it not look so squat and stuff. This is the mom's room. It ended up being very orange. I knew I wanted serene in here, but I didn't know what color, and the bed sort of dictated it, because I do really like that bed and the way it looks. It looks very cozy and nice. So I went with a lot of oranges in here. I struggled with the paint color. I still don't know if I'm completely happy with the paint color. Also, I struggled with these paintings. I could not figure out what order they went in, so I gave up. But the brown is a little, I don't know if it's my favorite, but the orange was like too orange, you know? So I went with like this really ruddy brown. And I think I ended up changing out the paintings a little bit because, also, yeah, that was the other thing. One downside to building a house like this is things jump around like crazy. Nothing is on the same level. Nothing is on the same level. It's impossible to figure out where anything is. But again, it's fun. It kind of reminds me of the church home I did eons and eons and eons ago. I actually think that might have been one of the earlier videos on the channel, but anyways, with all the platforms, right after platforms came out. It was really fun to build, but you couldn't tell what level anything was on. Nothing made sense. Nothing at all made sense. But this is the bigger of the bathrooms. It's upstairs. It's probably going to be the mom and daughter's bathroom, primarily because it's on the same floor and the boys do have one downstairs, but it's also the guest bathroom. There is no powder room in here, which generally I hate. I'm a very big fan of the powder room, mostly just because I don't like guests in my bathroom. I'm a little bit touchy about that. I don't assume everyone's going to go through my stuff, but I also kind of assume everyone's going to go through my stuff and I don't need it. I also just like for me, because I have food sensitivities, I like having a place where I can go and be like, I don't feel good, and I can just disappear. And a lot of times that's the bathroom, which is a weird statement, but so for me, it's always really important to have like a bathroom that guests go into, and it's not mine. So in real life, this house wouldn't work for me. I'd have to figure out how to put a powder bath in somewhere, which is a very first world situation. I completely understand that, but even like when I lived in sort of a room share situation where I was in a 1, 2, 3 bedroom house with like 10 people, it wasn't ideal. My biggest stress wasn't even like people going into my room and moving my stuff and dealing with my stuff, which did happen quite a bit. And there were several times where I'd go to get into like my laptop or something, and they'd be like, you can't get in here for another 4 hours because someone entered the password 82 billion times. But more importantly, it was that I almost never had access to a bathroom because the bathrooms were all in other people's bedrooms and stuff, and so you had to ask, and you almost never had the opportunity to get in the bathroom. It was very annoying. It was a very stressful situation. Do not advise. If the house is not rated for 10 plus people, don't put 10 plus people in a house. Anyways, yeah, so all that to say, this house wouldn't work for me. It doesn't have a powder bath. It does not have a guest bathroom. So this is the boys' bedroom. There are no windows, which I hate. I thought about doing, because I technically could have put light windows in here, but it kind of defeated the whole walkout basement feel. So I ended up not, but I think it's okay because I kind of tried to make their room look like they didn't do a whole lot in here sans store their stuff and sleep. The rumpus room is probably where they spent a majority of their time in the rumpus room. I really like the rumpus room is coming out. So the boys' room is meant to be kind of sloppy and messy. Also, those chairs I was really hoping would read as beanbags. They don't. But I was trying to make it read as beanbags. We need a good beanbag chair. Like, they could even make it look like a normal chair, but just like with pointy tips. You know what I'm talking about? Like, they have like beanbag chairs that look like chairs. But I was trying to make it look like beanbags were scattered around. I was trying to make it look like each of the boys had like a piece of furniture. They each had a chair, a desk space, a bed, and each little space is, I try to tailor it to the boys while still keeping it cohesive. But like I said, the boys are probably going to be out in the rumpus room, so I didn't worry too much about making it a space that they would, beyond studying, be in here very often. So I did that. Yeah, so there's and all the boys have like music posters and stuff up, like, because I wanted to give them something to bond over. So I figured like movies and video games and probably some music and stuff would have been the reason they bonded, because one of the boys very clearly is not biologically Mama Bear's, but she took him in because she loved him, and the boys had a friend in need. And, you know, what is the point of being a successful businesswoman if you can't help people out with what you've done? And so she decided to just take this boy in and adopt him, and he's hers now, and there's no going back. So there's somewhere in here, I believe there's a neon sign, and that takes a little bit of explanation. I don't know if it's all teenage boys, but at least my brother and his friends went through a super neon sign phase. So like, my brother somewhere in this house still has an open sign, and I know some of his friends had that, so I did put a neon sign in the boys' room. And I put a foosball table out in the rumpus room, as well as a place to exercise, because one of the boys is a jock, and it wouldn't fit in their room. So, but I went with greens down here, and a giant TV, and lots of movie posters, because if you've got a rumpus room, that is in fact what you're meant to do. In real life, you would need coverings on the windows to be able to actually use the screen. But I didn't have the mental fortitude to deal with curtains in The Sims 4. I didn't have it in me. But so I literally put, I think, every movie poster on this wall. Not the signed ones, just the movie poster ones. Because, like, it's a movie room, let's be honest here. It's a rumpus room, it's meant to be. And I was like, how cool would it be? Because my brother is super into posters, and so we have a ton of posters. And so down in our basement, we have, like, a lot of video game posters and stuff that need to be put up. And I was like, how cool would that look if they were all framed and around here? It was just a really cozy, fun place to come hang out. It's still put together pretty stylishly, and I like to think that boys have enough respect for their mama that they would still, like, keep it nice in here. It's not just a total, like, frat room or anything like that, but it's definitely the boys, like, hangout space. Like, there's a foosball table, and there's a punching bag, and they put their feet up, and it always smells vaguely of burnt popcorn down here, you know, that kind of thing. Armadillo, because I almost always put an armadillo in. And in the outside space, I did put a basketball set up so they could shoot free throws out here because of the jock, and then a nice table and a little barbecue, because I imagine the boys are all the age where they want to start helping out, and so they all think they're barbecue kings, because I don't know, again, if it's all teenage boys, but the teenage boys that I knew all went through a I can barbecue phase. They could not. And then up on the first, there's a little seating area too with a little fire pit, because I thought that would be fun, and there's enough seating for all of them, and I liked the blue. I thought it matched the house. There's up on the, like, grass level, there is a swing set and a monkey bars, and then on that little level you just saw me put it down, there's a mural, because I thought it would be fun for the little girls to be able to do murals, or the artists to be able to do murals on that area. And it didn't really have a job beyond just getting you up to the thing. And the walkway is a little weird because it wouldn't connect to the sidewalk, but I tried to make it look like you could walk out that way. Also, you have to manually set the front door, or everyone will go down to the sliding door into the rumpus room. Just heads up, I had that happen. So, I love the little greenhouse windows. I didn't think I was going to like them. I thought they were going to look weird, but I really like how they turned out. I went really minimal with the landscaping because, quite frankly, if you have 4 children, like, are you going to take the time to landscape? I do not think so. I like to think maybe she's hired a gardener, but also, like, I'd still have minimal. I still probably have minimal. I have huge gardens at this house, and they look rotten unless they are really tended to. And God bless my poor dad, he tries so hard, and I'm just like, I think I'm gonna have to hire someone, because there's a lot of garden and weeds, man. That's all I'll say. So like, and I have like, I imagine the boys mowing the lawn, but like not being able to cut like super tight cookies around the beams there, so I had little wildflowers growing where like it doesn't get mowed very often. And then I had to figure out something to do with this wall, so I used those window boxes a ton, a whole load. Oh yeah, and then I had this little place for it, and you didn't see me change them there, but one is recycling and one is garbage goodness. So that's all for me. I think I'll let you guys just hang out and watch the screenshots go through. I really like how this turned out. It was a big old experiment, and there was a couple times where I was ready to abandon it. I wasn't sure it was gonna work, but I'm real happy with how it turned out, and I hope you guys like it, and I cannot wait for you guys to meet this family. I am so jazzed about this family. But I'll leave you here. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll talk to y'all very soon.